Welcome to Films and Stuff with your hosts, Pete Mitchell and Ethan Hunt.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Films and Stuff. I'm Ethan, joined, as always, by most valuable Pete. Hey, Pete, what's up?
Not much, buddy. How are you?
We've said it once, we'll say it again. It's Saturday morning, and that means one thing and one thing only: cartoons and sugar cereal for the kids. The stream or skip segment for the adults. Am I right?
That's exactly right.
Every year I introduce it with a quippy little pun like that. And then I turn it over to you and I ask you to remind our listeners in 20 seconds or less what the rules are for the stream or skip segment of the Films and Stuff podcast. So without further ado, my friend, let her rip.
All righty. So Ethan and I have prepared lists of TV shows for each other to watch. Every week, we randomly assign each other one of those shows to watch. We watch at least 2 episodes if it's a series, 30 minutes if it's a feature-length program, and on that basis, we determine if that show is worthy of being streamed or skipped.
You assigned me something called Ballard, and it is on Amazon Prime. It stars Maggie Q. And for background, this is actually kind of a spin-off from the Bosch universe. So apparently there was Bosch, which ran for like 7 seasons, Bosch Legacy, which ran for 3 seasons. Bosch Legacy, I think, ended, it was like 2022 to 2025. So at the end of Bosch Legacy, apparently Maggie Q's character, and her name is Renee Ballard, she was introduced to the show. Ballard follows Detective Renee Ballard, who viewers would know from the Bosch series.
Right.
So that's one thing to put this in perspective. Number 2 is Ballard and Bosch are both creations from the author Michael Connelly, pretty well known. I mean, his lexicon of what he's done is huge, right? I mean, such as The Lincoln Lawyer, right? So, I mean, he's got just an incredible track record. And apparently the story goes, he was just a kid growing up in Florida, and he was like walking home or coming home from someplace one night, and he saw someone throw something into like bushes and drive off. So he went to go see what it was, and it turned out to have been a gun. And then, according to him, he kind of like followed the guy that threw it, and then saw where they went. He went to the police and said, hey, this guy threw a gun. The police went and got the gun, and then they went to the place where Connolly said that the guy went after that, but he was gone by then. So Connolly became like just enthralled in like detectivism, you know, like how you track down evidence and suspects and stuff like that. That's his Wikipedia-ish story on how he got into this. And then he went to school for journalism. And then he was kind of like a beat writer, you know, for local crime stories or police stories. And then he just went into this. So this is his thing, so to speak. And Harry Bosch and Renee Ballard are like his 2, I guess, quite famous characters, along with a Lincoln Lawyer. Okay, so that is Michael Connelly. Then we go Maggie Q. I'm not sure if you know her story. She is actually born and raised in Hawaii. I think my sense of not knowing her very well is that she's known for being very tall and elegant and aged very well, right? I mean, she's technically almost 50 now, but she's still got kind of that young, exotic Hawaiian kind of look. Her parents met in Vietnam, and then after the war, they went to Hawaii. They raised her, and she always wanted to be a veterinarian. Her family didn't have enough money to send her to veterinary school, so she had to go to Tokyo and be a model, poor thing. So, she's like, oh, I really want to be a vet. And her parents like, oh, we don't have any money to send you to school. She's like, no worries. I'll just go to Tokyo and just be like a celebrity model then. No big deal. You know, if I must, I'd much rather go to school and study veterinary science. But that's her story. And then apparently she met Jackie Chan when she was just kind of like an extra or a model or something. And Chan is like, hey, I think you'd be fantastic, and kind of mentored her. Doesn't say romantically, but just kind of like mentored her. And that's how she kind of got into like martial arts and fighting. And she's kind of known, for some of her other roles to be able to like really handle herself like physically, right?
Right.
So that is Maggie Q. And she is cast then as Renee Ballard in Bosch, and she's cast obviously as a title figure in Ballard itself. So, what is Ballard all about? Ballard is a very typical police procedural. If you like NYPD Blue, if you like Cold Case, if you like any of these kind of like television procedurals, you'll probably like this as well. There's only one season out, but apparently it was renewed for a second season. And when we meet her, we find that she comes across as really a hard ass, incredibly driven, not particularly personable. Described her as an onion with a lot of layers, but with a very hard shell. So you can't even get into all those layers. The first few episodes, she's just very cold, straight to the point, a little bit like The Diplomat, if you recall that series. Yeah. And then over the next few episodes, she becomes a little bit more empathetic, and we see that there's some big, I don't know if I want to say drama, maybe I should say trauma in her life that causes her to be a little bit guarded. And one of the reasons that she's kind of so dedicated. I didn't watch the whole season, and I didn't expose myself to any spoilers, so I don't know exactly what that is, but I've heard that the end of the first season is very, very gratifying. Sometimes there's a big reveal at the end, and we're kind of like, wah, wah, all that. This one apparently is worth it. So Maggie Q is kind of demoted in a way because of some incident that she had on the Los Angeles police force. And she is given a cold case unit. So it's apparently pretty political in the LAPD. And the chief of police or some councilman or the mayor says, in response to kind of like these outcries or questions from the media or the community, well, we're setting up the special, division for cold cases, cases that have been unsolved. And we don't want people to feel like, we're not doing anything. So we've got a special division for this. It's a little bit kind of like fictitious and tongue in cheek. So they give it to Ballard kind of as a punishment just to get her away from everybody on the police force. They go out of their way to say again and again, it's underfunded. I mean, it's a theme that becomes a little bit annoying after a while. Remember when we watched Department Q, also on Netflix?
That's exactly what this reminds me of.
It's very much like that, also with Maggie Q, but it's very much like that where it's kind of this ragtag group of folks, none of whom at first glance seem particularly qualified or motivated. And they're all kind of shoved together in this basement room. I mean, it's very similar now that we say it out loud. And their job is to just take these old cases that no one's followed up on, no one's solved. They're just throwing bodies at the problem, see if you can solve something. And if not, we don't really care, but at least we can say we've got a dedicated task force that's full-time looking into this of this many people. But everyone is kind of assigned here as either they're not wanted or they've fallen out of favor or something else. And Maggie Q leads this. And of course, she is all gung-ho, treating this like it's the first day of school and every case is live and active and needs to be solved within the next, 48 hours and, pushing everybody beyond what they think is fair or reasonable or normal. And that's kind of where I've left it. But I'm assuming that they're going to close some of these cases or they'll find some leads or they'll, make some headway. She'll be kind of recognized as a hero and so on and so forth. So that is the summary of the 3 episodes and the background research I've done for Ballard. In terms of the quality of the show, it's very high. If you like or love Maggie Q, you will like or love this show. If you like kind of these police procedurals, you will like this show. If you like Countdown on Amazon Prime, you will probably love this show. If none of those things are your thing, you will probably think that this is a good but unremarkable crime police drama. My perspective is the latter. Maggie Q is nice to look at. The show is done well. There's definitely some mysteries to uncover. There's definitely some compelling characters, but there's nothing in the dialogue that's particularly funny or witty or interesting or clever. There's just a whole bunch of, oh, we got a lead on this guy. This guy's related to this guy. Let's go check him out. Okay, he's running. Let's go chase him down. Okay, let's tackle him. Let's go question him. Let's go do it all again. Rinse and repeat. It kept my attention, but it would not take a lot to distract me from it. It would be something totally fine to watch in the background while you're eating your breakfast or clearing out your email or scrolling on your Instagram. So I give this, for me, it's a skip. It's a very good show. No doubt about it. Like I said, if it's your thing, it's probably a mooch.
Yeah.
But for me personally, if I were giving you the recommendation, I was giving my brother the recommendation, I was giving my mom or another close friend the recommendation, and they're like, hey, should I ask this person for their password? Or should I ask this person for their password for something else? I'd be like, for Ballard, no, skip it. Go for the other one, probably.
Okay.
So that's where we come out on this. But like I said, for the genre, for the characters, and particularly like if you liked Bosch, which I've never watched, but I've heard nothing but positive things and reviews about it. It seems to me that if you liked Bosch and you're looking, scratch that itch or fill that void, that this would be a very faithful show to replace it with, and you would not be unhappy. So that is Ballard on Amazon Prime.
All right. Well, then I will skip it despite my, let's say, attraction to Maggie Q.
Yeah, sorry to say. You're up, buddy. What do you got?
All right. I had a movie on Amazon Prime called The Killer's Game, starring Dave Bautista. This is a highly stylized action comedy.
That's his character, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's kind of his.
It's a sweet spot now.
Yeah. I mean, he's done great dramatic roles as well, but I think that's what he's probably most famous for in terms of the public, right?
Right.
The plot is relatively simple. Dave Bautista plays a hired assassin. While on a few missions, he starts getting these headaches and blurry visions, and he finds out that he's got some kind of terminal disease.
Oh.
He's one of those guys who's very good at his job, but he's feeling lonely, the usual, and he gets a girlfriend through one of the missions that he undergoes, and she has no idea what he does. The very typical setup.
Got it.
But because he's an assassin and a very successful one and well-known, he doesn't want to die kind of like in a hospital bed or in hospice. And, he doesn't want that to be the way he goes out. So what he does is he goes to a rival assassin's agency and puts a contract out on himself.
He wants to die a worthy death, basically, as
I
a gladiator,
guess, right?
as
Like
a
an
gladiator,
honorable
as a
death.
samurai. Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't want to commit suicide, but this is basically him committing suicide his way, which is to say, I want you, here's a $2 million bounty on me, and everyone's been trying to go after me for years. You finally have permission from me to go after me.
The guy who takes his money knows that he's paying to kill himself.
No, they don't.
I see.
The contract, the person who owns the agency knows.
Yeah,
but the contractors
killers
themselves don't know. Right?
Got it. Okay.
And when I say it's highly stylized, I mean in the sense that once he puts the contract, they put it up kind of like in an app like Uber, where all these contract killers have access to see if they want this contract. You know what I mean? Like
John Wick style. Yeah.
John Wick.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like John Wick, but less fleshed out and less style.
Yeah. It's all techie.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like it's flashy.
Let me guess. The guy who takes a contract is like really quirky and silly and goofy.
Yeah, well, it's Terry Crews.
Oh yeah, there we go.
You know what I mean? So, Yeah, so I didn't finish the whole movie. I couldn't.
Okay.
It just wasn't landing for me. Like it was trying to be funny, it was trying to be like hardcore action, but it just didn't land. It didn't have the quips. It didn't have the thing that separated this from John Wick was John Wick's world is unique and they built out the mythology really nicely. Like with the
Yeah.
Continental, with the gold coins,
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
whole layer of this contract assassin world that
Yeah.
exists under our real world in the
Right.
John Wick franchise.
Right.
This didn't have any of that.
Did he have a sidekick?
He didn't. So his
Ah.
his handler kind of was like his sidekick. You know what I mean? Like his boss sidekick.
Yeah.
It was it felt not authentic. And I know I sound ridiculous when I say authentic, but in the sense that it didn't feel fleshed out and it
Yeah.
didn't feel like enjoyable to watch. And so I was just thinking to myself, if I have to watch this for 2 hours, I'd rather just watch John Wick again for 2 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like where a contract is put out on the guy and he has to go through with it and it's not suicide, but he knows what he's doing is kind of suicidal. And there's a better, more plausible story. Oh, and then of course, I forgot the big twist. Right after he puts the hit out on himself,
Oh, I bet
his
he
doctor
saved.
calls him up to
Yeah.
say, by the way, I made a
Yeah.
mistake. You don't have a terminal
Of
disease.
course. Of
So
course.
now he can't cancel the contract.
Yeah. Of
And
course.
so now he has to kind of live through his own assassination attempts. And that's
Yeah.
like the humorous twist. And you're just like, well, who didn't see that coming? You know what I mean? Like,
With these guys, and by these guys, I mean the folks that are based primarily on like their physical attributes.
yeah,
Like it
exactly.
used to be, I mean, Schwarzenegger was the first and always, I think, the standard.
Yeah.
And then it was The Rock, and then
Vin
it
Diesel,
was Vin Diesel, and I think
John
Bautista,
Cena.
Cena, and Bautista, and so now it's a Reacher guy who's in a film with Kevin James, and all these that are successful, they've always pair, let's call it the muscle
Yeah.
with, let's say, the weasel, right? It was Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito in Twins, right? It was Bautista and
Kumail Nanjiani in the taxi
yeah,
one. Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
Stuber, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's Cena and whoever Cena gets, put up with, right? It used to be The Rock and then Kevin Hart. You need, I think, and both those guys, I think it's kind of insulting to them as humans. It's like, okay, you're the big muscle guy who's got to be really, really stupid and serious. You're the weak little shrimp, and you've got to be scared and a wuss all the time, right? So it's kind of typecasting the folks, which I'm sure none of them really love, but they make money doing it. Those team up movies usually play well when they've got like a good vibe against each other. But from what you described here, if he's either a lone wolf or he's with another muscle who's Terry Crews, it doesn't seem like he's got that balance to his, personality.
It's definitely a balancing issue, like you said, but it's also it feels a little hollow for what they're trying to do because Dave Bautista doesn't come off as incredibly humorous in this movie.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have that balance, you need a good comic relief
Yeah. You need
elements.
the outlet valve.
And exactly. And this doesn't have it.
All right. So I guess you give this a skip, right?
Yeah, it's a skip for me. Look, it's not bad. And if you kept it on in the background, it's fine. But like, I wouldn't tell you, hey, you got to go check out the Killer's Game.
Okay. So that's our streamer skip for this week. What have we assigned each other for next week?
All right. So next week, we're both on Netflix. You are watching a show. Now, I know that you're not a huge fan of foreign language shows, but this is a Spanish show called The Billionaire's Bunker.
I'm in. As much as you like a good heist, I like a good bunker.
Right. So you're on Netflix, Billionaire's Bunker, and I'm on Netflix watching a show called The Survivors.
don't recall what this is about. Do you?
No idea.
Before we go, we've got a mini review of something that just came out that I have seen, but you were not able to see it.
That's right.
The movie is Bugonia.
Yeah.
The director is, you say his name, it's Yorgos Lanthimos,
Yeah.
who's very famous, but a little bit under the radar, right?
Yeah, I maybe not under the radar. He's very quirky. He
Yeah.
does a certain style of movie, kind of like Tim Burton has
Yeah.
that, dark gothic style, or Zack Snyder has like this dark, gritty style. Yorgos
Yeah.
Lanthimos is all about like, how do I make this look really weird?
Yeah. But he's not a main, I mean, he is mainstream. He's got an Academy Award. I mean, he's very well known, but he's not like the household name kind of director like Nolan or someone like this, right?
Definitely not.
Yeah. But I mean, he's known for like his filmography is fantastic, right? I mean, Dogtooth, which I never saw, Alps, which was great, The Lobster was great, Killing of a Sacred Deer, disturbing, Poor Things I never saw, but it won everything, and now Bugonia. So
Right.
Bugonia just ripped into theaters, and I'm a little bit surprised because it is so niche. But here's the high-level synopsis. Two conspiracy-obsessed young men kidnap the high-powered CEO of a major company, convinced that she is an alien intent on destroying planet Earth. Bonkers, huh?
Yeah.
Emma Stone is the high-level CEO. Jesse Plemons is the brains. The background plot in the movie is apparently Jesse Plemons. I'm gonna give a lot of spoilers. It's okay, right?
Yeah, please go ahead.
So apparently the mother of Jesse Plemons suffered from some type of psychological disorder. It's a little bit on the fuzzy side. And apparently she took some drugs from the company that is owned / operated by Emma Stone's character. Emma Stone plays just this perfectly dressed, independent, strong woman CEO kind of founder. So Plemons is convinced. At first, I thought that his mother passed, but apparently she's just kind of like in a terminal long-term coma. And Plemons is convinced that the drugs that his mother took from Emma Stone's company caused all of this. And more to the point, he has become a conspiratorialist, if that's a word, who believes that this company is kind of a front for aliens, and that it's actually the way that aliens are trying to make people sick and then give them, this antidote or cure that actually kills them. So at first, before they really referenced what happened to his mother, I thought this was kind of like a post-COVID world, and that the company operated by Emma Stone was like doing like a vaccine, but apparently it's not exactly that. Clemens turns into just a rabid supporter of this conspiracy, and he is convinced that Emma Stone is an alien, and that as the representative of the alien, it's her job to manage this company to make other humans sick because it's an alien plot to take over the world. Sounds very crazy when he says it out loud. And he gets his cousin, Don, to kind of join him on this endeavor to kidnap Emma Stone. And Don, I don't know what the actor is like in real life. It's Aidan Delbus, but he plays someone who's a little bit more on the simple scale in the movie,
Yeah.
I mean, the Jesse Plemons character is unhinged, but he seems like he could pull it together if he wanted to. Like, he's got some intelligence and he's able to like interact with people. His cousin Don is a little bit more like, well, I don't know if that's right, but since you said it, okay, I'll go along with that kind of thing,
Right.
Anyway, these two kidnap Emma Stone's character, and I would say there's light torture. It's not a horror gory film, but there is enough kind of violence / blood to make it like a little bit uncomfortable. Like, there's nothing sci-fi about this. There's nothing comedic about it. It's a good old kind of drama slash thriller. Very much, let's say it's a little bit of a Breaking Bad style, right? Where it's
Okay.
not necessarily intended to be a horror movie, but there's enough kind of gore to be like, whoa, like this is graphic, you know?
Right.
Emma Stone, of course, thinks that these two guys are bonkers. Obviously, I'm not an alien. I'm just a CEO. But then she like sees how rabid these guys are, so she changes her tune a little bit. And in an attempt to kind of placate them, says, "All right, guys, you got me. I'm an alien," and starts coming out as an alien, right? So then they loosen their grip on her. She eventually escapes. I'm summarizing a 2-hour movie here. And at the end, there is a plot twist. She is an alien, and it is a conspiracy to kill all humans.
Okay, that sounds about right.
Yeah. I think, as I told you offline, I've got some mixed feelings. First of all, it's very well done. I mean, like, when you talk about like what movies should be receive Academy Awards, absolutely. If someone said, well, this was nominated for 8 different Academy Awards, I'd be like, I see it. Like Jesse Plemons, like his character, I'm so believing his character, you know? Emma Stone's character, I'm so in tune with her character. Like they give fantastic performances. So in terms of, you know, the work done by Yorgos, it's exceptional, right?
Okay.
This is not a movie for everybody. Like my mom would not like this. I think my brother would be mostly bored, but he would maybe suffer through it with me. I think you'd watch the whole thing, but it's definitely not that movie that kind of like, you know, he's got a style, right? It's not a movie that changes your life and like reframes your thinking about everything, but he's got a perspective. He's got a story he wants to tell. He's got something and he wants to get it out there. And he does that storytelling in a really, really good way.
Right.
So in terms of the quality of the product, it's just exceptional. It's second to none. In terms of the enjoyableness of the movie, it's a little bit hit and miss, to be honest. Even though I was
Okay.
always like emotionally engaged in the movie, I'm not a big fan of anyone, but especially women kind of handcuffed to cots in the basement of a house. I'm not really a fan of watching anyone who's tortured even a little bit.
Right.
So I have to say that was a little bit off-putting. And then I guess I want to think about this more. And I'd like to watch some other like online explanations, but I'm not sure where I come out on the ending, to be honest. It was originally kind of presented to me as, you know, this is how society makes people so crazy and grasping for anything to explain trauma or bad events to, well, maybe crazy people are right. And all of us are just overlooking this little thing that they've seen that we're zombies to. I don't know if I really like the message at the end. I'm not sure what the message is, first of all, like what the director is trying to tell me, if he's trying to tell me anything, but I'm not sure I like the message. Like it just seems that in the end, all of the bad behavior by Jesse Plemons is supposedly like his heart was in the
Justifiable.
right, yeah, justified, or his heart was in the right place, or aha, he was right all along. I mean, apart from the fact that this guy doesn't seem to have really any astrophysics training. I don't even think that's a word. Like, you know, he's not like a scientist. He's just like this guy who watches some YouTube, some podcasts, listens to
Conspiracy
some,
theorist, right?
yeah. And through all that, he's uncovered these aliens to become like this quasi expert on it. It seems a little bit implausible, you
Mm-hmm.
know, like he doesn't seem like the guy. But in any case, that's Bugonia. It's a 2-hour movie. I reasonably liked it. I would say
Okay.
it's not something that you need to rush to cinemas to see on a big screen. It's more niche. I think it's definitely a wait for home streaming. It's something to see on an airplane, maybe. I did enjoy it. I think the quality is fantastic, but elements of the story didn't really make me like super happy and upbeat, let's say. You know, it
Okay.
was an entertaining movie, but it didn't really like improve my mood dramatically or improve my view of the world. So that is Bugonia, Jesse Plemons, Emma Stone. Let's see if it gets some Oscar nominations. But despite being extraordinarily well done, I give it a wait for streaming.
Okay.
That is the plus side of the stream or skip segment today. So we've got our assignments for next week. Pete, we need to give everyone our YouTube, social media, and other creds and jazz so that they can agree, disagree, or tell us what they thought about either the shows that we reviewed or Bugonia.
All right. Leave a comment below, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you know when the next episode of the Films and Stuff podcast drops for you.
Could not have said it better myself. Pete, thank you for joining us. Listeners, thank you for joining. We will see you next week, next episode, Films and Stuff podcast. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Ethan. Thanks, everyone.
Bye now.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Films and Stuff. If you haven't already, please subscribe and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever podcasts are downloaded. Films and Stuff. There is no substitute.